An older man in a red MAGA hat walks into a luxury car showroom, and Jack, the confident salesman, immediately judges him. Dismissing him as out of place, Jack's arrogance blinds him to the shocking truth about who this man really is. One mistake, one twist, and everything changes. Stay tuned. Comments below. Where are you watching from? And if you like and love our story, kindly subscribe our channel, Life Inspirational and Motivational Tales that explore themes of love, unity, and patriotism. Stay with us always for interesting stories. Let's start the story. The luxury car showroom gleamed with polished perfection, its glass walls reflecting the bright afternoon sun. It was a space designed to exude wealth and exclusivity, every detail meticulously crafted to attract the elite. Inside, Jack Reynolds, a seasoned salesman with decades of experience, adjusted his tie and surveyed the room from behind his desk. Known for his sharp instincts, Jack prided himself on reading customers at a glance. For him, selling high-end cars wasn't just about transactions. It was a power play. As Jack reviewed his monthly sales targets, the sound of the automatic doors caught his attention. An older man in his late 60s walked in, his slow, deliberate stride drawing Jack's gaze. The man, George Anderson, was dressed in a simple yet well-tailored suit. But it wasn't his attire that stood out. Perched on his head was a bright red MAGA hat with the words, "Make America Great Again," emblazoned across it in bold white letters. The hat seemed to glow under the showroom lights, and Jack's smirk deepened. To Jack, the hat was more than just a political statement. It was a marker of someone he assumed didn't belong in a place like this. In Jack's mind, the MAGA hat symbolized small-town modesty, not the kind of wealth required to own one of the luxury cars that lined the floor. Jack leaned back in his chair, convinced that George was here to gawk at the vehicles, not to buy one. George, however, moved with quiet confidence, his hand brushing lightly over the hood of a sleek black sedan. He paused to admire the craftsmanship, his expression calm and contemplative. Jack interpreted this as hesitation, a sign that the man was out of his depth. Pushing back his chair, Jack decided to engage. He approached with his usual polished demeanor, but his tone carried an undertone of skepticism. "Good afternoon, sir," Jack said, his voice smooth. "Looking for something specific, or just here to admire the view?" George turned to him with a polite smile, tipping his MAGA hat slightly in greeting. "Good afternoon. Actually, I'm looking to buy," he replied, his tone measured. "I've been thinking about upgrading my collection." Jack raised an eyebrow. A collection? The idea seemed absurd to him. He glanced at George's hat and suit, struggling to reconcile the image before him. "A collection, you say? That's impressive. What do you currently drive?" Jack's tone was friendly on the surface, but laced with doubt. "I drive a Tesla at the moment," George answered calmly, "but I'm in the market for something different." Jack's smirk widened. A Tesla. He found it hard to believe. To him, George's presence in the showroom felt almost like a joke. "Well, these cars don't come cheap," Jack said, his voice dripping with subtle condescension. "Perhaps I can show you some options that are more practical." George's smile tightened slightly, but his tone remained steady. "I understand the costs," he said. "I'd like to see your top models, please." Jack hesitated, but decided to humor him, confident that George would back down once he saw the price tags. "Follow me," Jack said, leading him through the showroom. As they walked past rows of luxury sedans and sports cars, Jack delivered his sales pitch with the practiced ease of a seasoned professional. But woven into his descriptions were pointed remarks about exclusivity and price, comments meant to subtly remind George that he was out of his league. George listened without reacting, his expression calm, though his sharp gaze suggested he wasn't missing a single word. They stopped in front of the most expensive car in the showroom, a limited edition model that gleamed under the lights. Jack leaned casually against the hood, folding his arms. "Now this one," he said, his smirk returning, "is the crown jewel of our collection. Might be a bit out of reach, but hey, it doesn't hurt to dream, right?" George walked slowly around the car, his eyes studying every detail. He ran a hand along the polished surface, nodding appreciatively. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm but firm. "I'll take it." Jack blinked, caught completely off guard. "Excuse me?" "I said I'll take the car," George repeated, his tone unwavering. Jack's smirk faltered. Do you have financing arranged, or?" George chuckled softly. "No need for financing." He reached into his jacket pocket and produced a sleek black credit card, placing it gently on the hood of the car. "I'll pay in full." The sight of the card stunned Jack. It wasn't just any credit card. It was one reserved for the ultra-wealthy, the kind of card that only a small fraction of people ever held. Jack's face flushed as he realized how badly he had misjudged George. "I'll need the car delivered to my office downtown," George continued, his voice calm. "And while you're at it, I'd like to purchase a few more vehicles for my team." Jack stammered, struggling to process what he'd just heard. "Your team?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. George smiled faintly, stepping closer. "That's right," he said. "I'm not just here to buy a car. I'm here to finalize an acquisition." Jack froze, his mind reeling. "An acquisition?" George's smile grew sharper. "Yes. I've just finalized the purchase of this dealership chain. I'm your new boss." Jack felt the blood drain from his face. The man he had dismissed so easily, the man he had judged based on a MAGA hat, now owned the very business where Jack worked. George's tone remained calm but firm as he continued. "You let your assumptions blind you. Prejudice has a way of narrowing vision, doesn't it?" Jack tried to stammer out an apology, but George raised a hand to stop him. "I'm not firing you, Jack," he said. "But things are going to change." He stepped back, folding his arms. "Starting today, every employee will undergo diversity and inclusivity training. And you," he added, his gaze steady, "will be the first to sign up." Relief and shame washed over Jack in equal measure. "Of course," he said quickly. "I'll do whatever it takes." Over the next several months, the dealership underwent a complete transformation. George introduced a diverse team of new hires, fostering an environment of inclusivity and respect. Jack struggled at first, but as he attended the training sessions and worked with his new colleagues, he began to confront his own biases. Slowly, he started to see the world differently. The training sessions challenged Jack to reflect deeply on his assumptions and actions. Hearing stories from colleagues with vastly different backgrounds opened his eyes to perspectives he had never considered. He realized how much his narrow mindset had limited not just his work, but his understanding of the world. George, true to his word, treated Jack with professionalism and respect, never holding the past over him. Instead, he guided Jack subtly, giving him the space to grow. As Jack's mindset shifted, so did his performance. He became a mentor to newer employees, sharing his experiences and helping create a more welcoming environment for everyone. One afternoon, George called Jack into his office. "You've been doing excellent work," George said, his tone warm. "But more importantly, I've seen real growth in you." Jack nodded, his throat tight with emotion. "Thank you," he said quietly. "I'll never forget the chance you gave me." George smiled. "Everyone deserves a second chance, Jack, and you've proven that you deserved yours." Under George's leadership, the dealership thrived. Its reputation for inclusivity and exceptional service drew praise from clients and employees alike. Jack, once a skeptic, became one of its strongest advocates. His journey from prejudice to growth served as an inspiration to others, a testament to the power of humility and second chances. As Jack reflected on how far he had come, he realized that the experience had changed him not just as a professional, but as a person. The dealership was no longer just a workplace. It was a legacy of change, a reminder that it's never too late to grow. What would you do if you were in this situation? Have you ever faced or witnessed something similar? Share your thoughts and real-life stories in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about lessons learned, second chances, and breaking assumptions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking stories. Comments below, where are you watching from? And if you like and love our story, kindly subscribe our channel, Life Inspirational and Motivational Tales that explore themes of love, unity, and patriotism. Stay with us always for interesting stories.